Hey guys, this is Gabriel from SolidTech. This is just a quick video on how to use design tables and macro to set the materials that you've actually placed in your design table and set them to the actual parts. Alright, so in this video you see me opening a file. Now the file that I'm going to open is one that I created earlier. It's just a simple bolt with a few configurations and a design table already embedded inside. Now you can see there's a few bolts, few configurations, just different lengths in a design table. Just quickly have a look at it. You see all the properties that I've actually set already, just the length and the cosmetic thread length as well. Now you see that if I actually flick over, none of the material is not set. If I switch over to a different configuration, again it's not set. Alright, just flick over a couple more, you'll see that none of them is set. I'm actually going to set them using the macro. Now I'm going to go into Tools, Macro, and then Run. Just make sure I select the Design Table macro, which is the one I created. What it actually does is it opens the design table and it actually tells me the material custom property does not exist. You'll create one for me and it will default to plain carbon steel for all configurations. And it actually says after doing so, make sure to accept it next time you open the design table. I'll show you what that means in a tick. But as you can see now that I've ran this macro, it's actually set the material to be plain carbon steel, and it's actually added into the configuration specific tab material as plain carbon steel for all configurations. Okay, if I flick over to a few different configurations, it actually shows me there. When I open the design table again, it actually prompts me. This is what I was telling you before. Just make sure you select the material so that it adds it to the design table, and that way now I can actually change any of the materials. I give it 1060 alloy. This is just a standard name in the standard SolidWorks library, material library. Just type it in as you'd come up in the feature tree. Now you can see that it actually hasn't changed yet. It actually has changed in the configuration specific, as you expect when you change something in the design table. If I just want to run my macro again, you'll see that it actually updates the material part for all configurations. But because the other ones are still plain carbon steel, it'll only update the default configuration. It's just telling me that it's found the column and it's going to use all the values. And you can see now on the left it's actually updated to 1060 alloy that I typed in. Now you can do this for any configuration. You can use the power of Excel to do this. It's up to you really. The option is there. All you need to do is just make sure you type in the right number, the right name for the material, otherwise it won't update correctly. Okay, now one thing to note, one thing that we are going to do is have a quick little look at the actual macro, what it looks like. Now this actually opens up Microsoft Visual Basic for applications. You can see it sets up some of the variables. The actual active document becomes a variable that is used inside, and that way we can actually open up and use the design table in there. This attached line actually opens up. So same as right clicking on and say open table. The first part checks to see if there is a design table, otherwise it'll tell you a message saying it doesn't exist. If it does exist, we've seen that little message box come up. It says material property found. We'll update all materials and configurations. Now it goes through each single configuration and it actually sets material property name to, using that function called to, using the SolidWorks materials standard library. Okay, now we saw this message before. If it actually doesn't exist, if the custom property doesn't exist, it'll give you a bit of a longer message. It explains a lot, and basically what it does is it actually adds custom information 3, which is a configuration specific property, and just writes in plain carbon steel to the custom property. The next line after that is actually setting the material. Again, similar to the step before, but this is a two-step process because it needs to add it to the configuration specific custom property. Alright, now the last line is actually detach, which means it just closes the actual design table visually. Now the line up the top that says option explicit just means all the variables need to be declared. Just a quick thing, you probably could set your macro to have a shortcut key. With a shortcut key, all you need to do is hit your shortcut and it will save you from going into Tools, Macro, Run and selecting your macro. So just type in macro, to the keyboard, just select new macro button, and make sure we select our design table macro. And this will be available attached to the blog, so you can ask me questions there as well, or give us an email. Just type in a tooltip if you ever need to select it. Hit OK and then actually give it a shortcut. I've just decided to use Control D, just because it's design table, it's quick and easy. I actually also press enter because I can't actually see the OK down the bottom. But what I do is I actually just move this to the next screen and just hit OK and don't do anything else on that screen. Alright, now once this is set, all I need to do is just hit Control D and you'll see it opens up the design table and updates all my values, all my materials for my parts and configurations. Alright, thanks for that. If you have any questions, just make sure you leave the post in the comments. Thanks guys.